you were trying to raise money before your product launch.
Mm-hmm.
Compare that to now, if you make those same phone calls or emails to investors and you say, all right, now we've launched and we have 120 paid locations, I'm sure that the way that they respond is probably pretty different.
So yes, but I'm going to surprise you in this. Okay,
Ooh,
raising capital. I think with an idea and a thought, a great idea, thought, and you could get an MVP. I think it's actually kind of easier than when you go live, because even though you have a sold product and that's great, now they're looking at like, well, what's your ARR? What's your MRR? What's your team look like? What's this? What's this? Like they start like picking apart. Like, okay, you have this great idea, but now what's your traction? And even if I show, hey, we're in 120, 130 locations within the first 60 days of going live, which is fantastic for any company, which, by the way, the majority of those companies are already talking to us about renewing, which is awesome. They want to go into a long-term contract with us because they don't want to renew necessarily every month or every year. They want to just be done, which is great. We're all for it. But I find that dealing with investors now, it's like a little bit more tricky. Like you have to have more gusto behind the product.
Is that because they liked you before?
I think that there's a component behind that. They're buying into the founder, or it's like when you look at like Elon Musk, right? Like some would say he's entertaining, or some would say he's really boring. There's probably investors that made decisions based on his personality. I'll tell you what though. When he put that Starlink, and let's all say a special prayer for Ukraine, but when he moved that Starlink over in a split second to give them internet, I bet he made me a buyer of Tesla. If I'm going to ever buy an electric car, I want to buy it from him.
Yeah, for sure.
So now there's some controversy in that,
But with that though, now that goes right into the next phase in terms of, as founders, you gotta tell that story. You got to track your metrics. You need to know your numbers, and you need to show that month over month user growth and revenue growth. And then part of the soundtrack in your pitch is, well, yeah, I need your investment money so that we can continue on the trajectory that we have. And a lot of
I agree with that.
Yeah, and there's so many founders that don't want to. Yeah, we'll talk.
We'll put pressure on screen. Hey, so no, you're right? Like there is absolutely, you need to know your numbers. And one thing that I also like to tell all founders, you could buy cheap crap out there. It's all available. There is cheap crap out there for sure that you can go and purchase. But some of the things that I found that are absolutely critical in starting a business, if you plan to be a business that will be here for the years, and that you plan to sell it, and you want to get to a 10x, a 15x, whatever it is, then you have to spend some money on doing things right. And the big one there for a lot of founders is the legal compartment. Make sure you have, like, I hear founders all the time say like, oh, I'm going to give them, I'm going to create my own convertible note, and I'm going to give them, da 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 da. And I'm saying, well, who are you giving that to? And they're like, well, my friend over here, John Smith. Well, okay, how much money does John Smith make, per year? Well, he probably makes $40,000 a year. Does he have $1 million in liquid? No, definitely not. Okay, well then you can't actually have him as an investor, because you have to find yourself sophisticated investors or accredited investors that make $250,000 or have $1 million in liquid, but they would never know that without getting the proper legal advice. Right. And then they can put themselves in a lot of financial harm down the road.
Yeah. It's just, you've got to do it the right way from the very beginning. It's
Absolutely
crazy to me how people will try to skirt around and take the shortcut, man. And then you have to pay 3 times the amount to fix everything later. You go through due diligence, then you can't get another, for a larger investment, and everything is dorked up because it wasn't done the right way the first time. It's a mess.
Hey, I'll give a plug out there. We got a credit investor invested with us. It used to be called CIT, but now it's VIPC. And what's really neat about them,
what's it called now?
VIPC. Yeah. So
what's that?
I have to look it up, but it's Virginia
Innovation Partners.
Partners.
Oh, why did they change the name?
So,
sorry.
I think it has a lot to do with more focus on Virginia.
We're going to have them on as a future guest, so
awesome.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, that's great. Right. Well, they're fantastic. And what was interesting is all these investors who've invested in us. I shouldn't say all these. We don't have that many because we didn't crowdfund. But the investors who did invest in us, none of them asked me about a background check. None of them asked me about a credit check. And like, the thing is like, if I'm, let's just say I was convicted of something really horrible, 10 years ago or 15 years ago, like, wouldn't you want to know that's who you're investing in? Like, wouldn't you want to know that?
Is that the
before
norm?
there's some, that is the norm.
I mean,
they
like,
don't care. It's crazy.
I tell all the founders that I mentor and work with, I have them, and so for founders that are listening, you create that document library right now with all your bank statements, all your legal paperwork, all, that there's not any known legal cases or anything that are coming, your way. I mean, just the more that you can have all that due diligence up front, ready to go, and then you just give someone access to that Dropbox or Google folder and they can look at it, dude, it just makes everything so much smoother. All your accreditation, your business entity paperwork, IP paperwork, just all needs to be done and buttoned up and make it easy.
Yep. It's, and it's, you don't have to, the best advice I could ever give a founder, besides the legal part, is you don't have to know it all. Just get the people around you that know it. And when you get the right people around you that know it, then you'll be fine. But you've got to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. I love being the dumbest person at the table all the time, and I'm totally okay with that. And it's because the people around me are just absolutely brilliant. And yeah, so but going back to VIPC and CIT, they asked me, they said, hey, we're going to invest in you. We're excited. We're excited to be a part of this. But here's our only thing is that we have to do a background check. And my response to him was like, finally. That's literally what I said to him. I said, finally. And he goes, excuse me? And I said, yeah. I said, finally. I said, I've raised over $500,000 and no one has done a single background check or a credit check on me. You guys are the first to do it. Maybe that's why they're so accredited and why people look to them like, hey, if they're investing in someone, maybe that's something to look at. And they
could be a
did
state
it, and I told them
Aren't
finally.
They state
Yeah, there's
regulated?
some state funding, and they have to, but it's part of their due diligence. Like they're going to check that, and that's good. Like I think that's smart. So, yeah. So, anyways, I'm not worried. But it was really funny when they did that, and it was great. It was a great feeling to know that, hey, look, I've done everything. Now, I'm not saying somebody who has bad credit shouldn't be a founder. Okay, just have explanations for why you have bad credit, but nobody checks credit. So that's I always think that's interesting. And if you have a bad background, be ready to explain it. Don't let them
Could be a
find
story
it.
there.
Yeah, don't let them find it. Let you be forthcoming with it. Be transparent with it. It shouldn't be I meet you, everything looks great. Hey, Scott, got a problem. We found this in your background. It should be, hey, nice to meet you. I'm raising this. By the way, let me just share a couple of things about my past that you may want to know. I have, I did this. I robbed this store when I was 8. I just turned 18 years old, and that's going to show up on my criminal background, but I'm 38 years old. That was 20 years ago. And since then, I blah, blah, blah. Like you have to have an explanation and say, you're going to find this. I want to tell you about it. And don't be scared about it, because guess what? They're going to find out now, or they're going to find out later. And you don't want them to find out later. So
another thing that is incredibly smart is for people who subscribe to this show. So wherever you are listening right now, go ahead and download it, subscribe it, like it, share it, do all those things that allow us to come into your earbuds at least once a week. And for those of you that re-listen on a daily basis, thank you. I will do soothing Zack Miller voice right now. Scott's taking a note. Download now. Thank you.
Oh, hold on. I need to follow. I was joking with Tim the other day. I saw him, or yesterday, 2 days ago.
Oh,
yesterday?
yeah.
And I was joking with I was like, oh, I get this newsletter from you. I said, and someone says, oh, I read it every time. And I was like, look, I'm not going to fluff this. I don't read it every time. I read it. And then what I always do when I do read it, like from time to time, I always regret that I didn't read the ones previous, but now I don't have time to go back. And so I said, you know what? I'm just going to be real about it. But it is nice. I get to see you guys all the time. You guys always put out good nuggets and great information. So I appreciate you guys. So yeah, everybody should subscribe. It's great stuff.
Yeah, but it's for the founders. I mean, I tell everybody that's my North Star. It's whatever I can do to clear the path for the founders and make life easy for them. That's what it's all about. I love seeing the success that you have and following everything along. It's just constant messaging on LinkedIn, and it's all really, really good stuff. So Yeah, it's great.
I want to
appreciate that, and also same to you guys. Doing great.
I want to ask one more
involved
question.
Within our entrepreneurial community for years. And the most common question I get is, Tim, I want to get involved, but I don't know what events I should attend. Well, StartWheel eliminates that pain point because we consolidate all the events you should attend into a single calendar. Now you'll be in the know and see where to spend your time. Gone is the need to search multiple websites and calendars. Just head to startwheel.org and see for yourself. That's startwheel.org.